Welcome, welcome, welcome to another segment of Conversate and ELLAvate, which is a component of SeekELLAvation. If this is your first time listening or viewing, SeekELLAvation is an empowercast that's available on all major streaming platforms where podcasts are available. And the intention of SeekELLAvation is to motivate, to inspire, to educate, enlighten the listener and viewer by giving you tips, strategies, and motivations on various topics to elevate your business and personal life practices. But the Conversate and ELLAvate component is where I'm going to bring 26 individuals throughout the year from various backgrounds that will touch the various listeners. And hopefully you're able to listen and to glean on the information where it inspires you and also possibly make a great connection from the person that you're actually listening to. So who I have today is an amazing individual. I have Nicholas Bedford. How are you?
I'm good. How's everybody? I'm good. Ella, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm even better now that I have you on here. And for those who are listening or viewing, we have a little history. We'll get to that later. But an amazing, dynamic man, an amazing, dynamic man. And if you know me, I'm a person that's about genuine, authentic energy. And this right here is genuine, authentic energy, top with some talent, knowledge, and everything else. So we're gonna pull that out today. He is the CEO of Elite Sport and Entertainment Firm. They're going to go through a transition. I don't know. We may talk about that later if there's any information he wants you to know about that. But that's who he is, the CEO of that, and he is a certified NFLPA agent. So the National Football League agent, and we'll get into that as well. All right, Nicholas. So let's dive in and get to this conversation. Let's let the listeners and the viewers know a little bit who Nicholas is. Where are you from?
I am from Louisiana. In a small, nice town called Ruston, Louisiana. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, but it is. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Louisiana Tech. It is right there in that same area, but it is also. I went to Grambling State University, so it's like just a little about 5 miles away. Grambling is right beside my hometown. So I actually am. I stay in Grambling when I am Louisiana. I stay in Grambling. That's my area. That's why I went to school.
Wow, Graham fam, huh? You shout out to your
Graham
Graham
fam.
fam.
Shout out to the guys, the G men. We the culture, baby. We love it.
What was that experience for you at Gremlin? That's HBCU?
It is HBCU. That experience to me was actually pretty cool. I didn't consider Grambling early on until I went to originally I wanted to play football. So I was going to go to Ole Miss originally. That was my original school that I really, really liked and I really, really did want to go to. But a lot of things didn't happen the way that I thought that they would pan out or they should have played out. So I decided to go to a junior college in Mississippi, and I went there for a semester just to kind of see. And I wanted to play football, but a lot of things did not pan out for me that way. So I ended up stayed out for a semester and hung out with some friends. One of my best friends played football there, and he was on scholarship. And we hung out. It was, as a college student, it was tough. It was difficult times. We had some difficult times trying to make ends meet, trying to figure out how we're gonna eat. It was just a lot of stuff. But I ended up transferring home. I came to Grambling State University, man, and I think it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. And it was actually a life-changing decision for me. And it was actually a beautiful thing.
Nice. And for those who are actually viewing, when you see me look down, if this is your first time watching it, I'm actually taking some notes. I'm pulling out things that are nuggets, and we're going to expand on those things. And the first nugget I want to pull out is, like you said, things didn't pan out for you. So you took, when you say pan out, you had in your mind this certain plan, the way you envisioned how things was going to go, and it did not work that way in your reality. So what you did was pivot. You didn't give up, you pivoted. And so when you pivot, you were able to go through the back door and still come back out on the other end. And another thing you pointed out is, as a college student, it wasn't all gravy. It wasn't all gravy.
Man,
Like you said, as
If I can, if, hey Ella, if I can tell you
Yes.
things that me and my friend went through when we was
Yes.
in Jones County Junior College,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be like, Nick, how are you talking to me today?
But you
How
made
are you?
and you made it, and you are here talking, and I'm happy you say that, because for anyone who's listening or watching, if you think your situation, you're not isolated in your situation. This is not to discount anyone's situation. This is to say, no matter what you're going through, and if you're going through something that you think there's no way, this is just different, I'm just, the bad apple in the bunch, you have someone out here saying that only if you knew the details, we would be surprised at
Man.
how he's even here talking to us today. So, what was it in you, whatever that you had to experience and go through, and if you could even give some examples, but what was it in you that was able to overcome that situation when you pivoted, especially when you already walked into it when things weren't panning out the way you wanted it to?
So for me, just coming from where I came from, I'm first generation, pretty much everything. So graduating from college and getting a master's degree and getting my bachelor's, just to start out, that was the first thing. That's the first generation for me, and that alone is generation curses that I was willing to break for myself and my family. So for me, I wanted to pave a way for the people after me. It's like my little sister, my cousins, my mom. She decided to go back to school after she saw me. My dad, he did the same thing. So it was just things that help me basically motivate some people around me as well to get to different statues of their life, different pinnacles that they wanted to get into, which was super awesome, man. Like when sometimes I talk to some of the people that's older than me, and they be like, "Bro, you inspire me to be a better me. You inspire me to be great." And it's just some when you hear it, you're like, "Nah, man,
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. Like I'm just trying to get it. I'm just grinding it out." But people really gravitate to great people, like you said early on in the conversation when we first opened this session. Um, I can't thank, man, my family enough, man, for the support that they give me and provided to me throughout those different seasons of my life, and I still need their support today. I'm just be honest with you on that part.
Yeah.
And it was like my best friend, man. He was a football player at Jones County Junior College, and believe it or not, Ella, I had an uncle that played NFL ball. We talked about his agent. When I was in like the 19th grade, I went to visit him when he was playing in Seattle, Washington, and we stayed out there for about it was like over the Thanksgiving break, um, back in probably 2006 or seven. And he was telling me about his agent, and it just kind of intrigued me. It just kind of intrigued my thought. It invoked my thoughts and kind of made me wrap my head around what was going on there. And I just kept asking questions. We was in the car, and I just kept asking questions. I said, "Man, what about this? What does he do? What is this? How does it work? What is his official job? How does his role go every day?" And so for me, I may look a little big, but I'm actually a smaller person. I'm a smaller size guy. My dreams were to be in the NFL and play NFL football, but
Mm.
it, it just don't happen. You got to be realistic with yourself, and it's just something that I know that okay, it probably won't happen for me. So I said, well, I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna have to figure out if I want to be an agent, if I want to be a coach, if I want to be a front office personality or front office personnel, or what do I want to do? Like that's something that I really had to thinking about and expand on. And I think that from like my 19th grade year up until my collegiate year, I used to tell my best friend all the time. I said, bro, I don't know how I'm gonna get there. I don't know if I'm gonna play ball with you or what. But if I do not play ball, bro, I'm gonna be your agent, and I'm gonna figure out how I can help you, bro, and help us get together and build a multi-million-dollar firm, bro. And if you think I'm capping, as the young people said, I can definitely give him a call, and he'll tell you, bro. You used to tell me that all the time, and you actually fulfill your side of the bargain. He tell me that all the time.
So before we get into that NFL, you being the agent, I want to back up to a point you just made. Like you said, one of the things that really pushed you to make it through the humps is just being first gen. And I can relate to you on that. A lot of times I get that same question. What was it about you, Ella, that propelled you, that helped you overcome and beat the odds and obstacles, you never really can pinpoint and drill down that answer. The thing that you know is that you just had this fire and desire in you based on your circumstances. But I do get that some people may be in the same exact circumstance and take different paths. So we still don't really know what it is. We just know that we respond and call to it. So I relate to you on being the first gen and making an impact. That's another thing, like the point you just made. People say, you inspire me. You're like, what? You just see yourself in the fire. You don't realize that while you're in the fire, that you are also inspiring, right? And so that's why it's important for us to go through our fire and focus on what we're doing, because we never know how that is actually impacting and rubbing off on someone else and inspiring them and giving them hope and seeing what's possible. So I wanted to definitely pull that out.
Man, I'm gonna just, dealing with that right there, Ella, is like, I mean, man, I ran a club during college, and I worked a full-time job as a manager at Captain D's seafood restaurant. So I did all that, and I was in school. It was just, I don't know, man. It was just my mom. She was a single mom. She was a single
Yep.
parent lady. So I helped with the bills. I did whatever I could to make sure that we was fair. Like everybody was straight. My little sister she's 10 years younger than me. She's in college. She's going into her senior year at Grambling State University. Just crossed Delta just about a month ago.
Okay.
So just seeing her transition from being the man of the house, and I was a younger young man, and seeing her transition from a baby girl, helping my mom change diapers and make sure she was okay, and to seeing her grow into this beautiful young lady that she is today, is like, damn, I I'm here. I'm still here standing. And when I never, I don't.
And you were a part of that.
I'm
And
part
you
of that.
and you are a part of that. So like I said, something in you though chose to respond to being that man and being the impact, because there's so many people who use the same thing you're saying as an excuse on why they can't achieve. I come from a single family household. I don't have people around me. I don't know. I just don't this. They have it. And so what I'm saying is it's in you.
You know what though, Ella, man, I'm gonna tell you this. A lot of people do not know this. My mom had me when she was 15 years old. So that's gonna let you know what kind of struggle we had coming up.
Yes.
And I don't like to talk about it a lot, but I'm very candid about some of the things that I do discuss.
Yes.
And I won't, just like you said, we connect to people that really need to know. It's like, man, my mom had me when she was pregnant at 14. She had me at 15 years old. My grandma, my aunties, I was raised by a village.
Yes.
My village helped me. They raised me. They did a lot of things. They instilled a lot of great stuff in me. And that made me who I am today. And I'm really proud to sit here and talk to you today and tell you that. And that's some of my reasons why I keep going. That's some of the reasons why my flame may get small, just like on a barbecue pit or something, and I throw some fuel on it, man, just because I think about them and where we came from. It's just, it's amazing to even sit here and speak to you and talk about the things that I've overcame.
Well, I'm proud that you use it to actually propel forward and not use it to be stagnated. And I'm also proud that you shared it, because Nick, there's so many people that's going to be listening and watching, and being that this is a video, which is real estate, it's going to continue. Someone's going to come across who probably feel embarrassed. I don't want to share. I'm different. I'm isolated, and can hear and connect with someone that's going to be able to relate to them on a whole other level. No excuses. You're going to get someone that's not going to allow the excuses, because that person have lived it, which is you, coming from, like you said, a single family household, young mom, and y'all figured out how to do it. And you had to become a man, I'm pretty sure, way early. You had to become a man, and you didn't crumble because of that. It pushed you.
Yeah.
All right. So that's like you impact others. You just mentioned that you had someone who impacted you, which is your uncle. But before I go there, before your path, because you vision, I'm going to be in the NFL one way or another. So one, you spoke it and you held on to that conviction. But in that path, what are some other things you did as far as like just work wise? So I know you didn't go from high school right to college, right to NFL. What are some other type of opportunities that you seized while you waited to segue in to the NFL?
That's a great question. Me personally, I started working when I was 14 and a half years old. I carried that same job title from, well, not the same job title. I moved up within that company, which is the seafood restaurant that I was eventually became a manager at. Started at 14 and a half working there. And it started off as like a summer gig. You know, I was working playing football in high school at the time. I was a middle linebacker, if anybody wants to know that. Um, it was the grind. Like I get out of practice, I go to school, I go to school, hit practice, do whatever we need to do there, and then I get out of practice. I'm I'm going to work. And we had some fun, man. It was beautiful. So I was a cook there from like 14 and a half all the way up to like 17 or 17 and 17 and a half, 18. Then I became a manager there. And I stayed there for about 8 years roughly, if we're looking at the amount of time I spent there. So I was about 22, 23 years old. And then I eventually I got my bachelor's degree, ended up going into I was recruited by Sharon Williams Paint Group as one of the executives of their the company there. And I was ended up being a manager over there at that particular um entity as well. And I stayed there for 5 years. And that's when I began during my high school years and until that Sharon Williams role, I ended up running a nightclub at nighttime. And I was there. My cousin played NFL ball and my uncle played NFL ball. They owned a club over in Grambling State over there, down the road from Grambling State University. It's in the Grambling area. It was called Club Mix. I was a night manager there. I ran the club, did a lot of operations. I opened and closed, and that stuff. It was a very interesting industry as well. We had concerts. We had a lot of things. It was a beautiful thing to do. It was definitely different. It was something that kept my mind open. It kind of showed me how to be a young man and a young boss at the same time. Like
Right.
it's showing you how to balance your books, to make sure your overhead is correctly, to recruit the right people to come and run the club, to recruit the right people to run the bar, security, budgeting. It taught me a lot of things that were more hands-on from the things that you learn at Grambling. You listen to it and you see it on paper and you're taking tests behind it, but you're not really seeing it hands-on. So that was my hands-on experience moving forward from those two areas, if that makes sense to you.
Absolutely. And I
So
like,
when
okay.
go ahead, go ahead.
I like that you pointed out something real quick that what you learned in those different experiences that are transitional and transferable skills into whatever you're doing. And, for some people, they get defeated if they have to pivot, one, but two, if they have to go into something else where, like you just said, in every challenge, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity, and you seize an opportunity to elevate you as a whole. No matter what you were doing, you were seizing
Right.
an opportunity to learn skills to elevate you wherever they're going to be applied to. And then, secondly, I always tell people this: if you're someone who is limitless and you see yourself living abundantly, 9 times out of 10, you're someone who is diverse in doing stuff. Like people are so surprised now when I say, oh, I do legal, I also teach, I also speak, you gotta, those things that come to you and you're able to play chess to move those things around and do exactly what you want to do. That's what it's going to look like. It's not just this one thing. So I wanted to point that out, how you're talking about the diversity in your experience.
But like you just said, I was talking. It was me and my business partner was talking to some guys yesterday. They design like homes and things of that nature. We were speaking to someone yesterday, and they asked us basically how we take things and move forward with it. So I told them, just kind of looking at everything, I don't look at it as a bad thing. It's all kinds of vehicles that you can use to transition
Absolutely.
your life throughout different things. So it's a job to you, but it's a people skill, or it's a computer skill, or it's a speaking skill that I can articulate into what I'm doing today. So it's not
Absolutely.
necessarily like, I don't want to clock in here. It's like, all right, man, how can I get better? Like, what can I do? It's a constant grind. It just helps me be a better me. It's some things that I probably was raw at that I'm probably better at now because I did speak to those customers, or I did have 100 people coming into the club, and I know how to talk to the manager or the executive of this
Absolutely.
this artist agent or whoever it was, it's just things that you pick up on that you just don't realize it, but you really enhancing your skills.
I love the word you summed it up when you said a vehicle. I mean, for us to move forward, for us to move, period, for us to not to be at a standstill, we're in a vehicle to transport. And every situation is that vehicle. If you want to look at it as different trains you get on, if you want to look at different planes or different cars you switching, all of it are vehicles to move in
Yes.
a direction. So I love how you pointed out those are vehicles. And I really wanted to dispel that myth. I really do, where people think if it doesn't look like this, it must be over. You have to be so open and so receptive on how there's so many nuggets in any and everything that you do in order to get and be wherever you imagine to be. So I want to get to the NFL stuff. You mentioned uncle agent. You mentioned uncle in the NFL, cousin NFL, friend that you had this conversation with. Hey, we're gonna be here together,
We're
one
gonna do
way
it.
or another. So those were impacts and influences for you. And so when you transition and you started to see, okay, I'm not going in the route of actually being a player. When was that, and what were your next? How did you plan out? I'm going in a different way. What did that look like?
So I mean, I was out in high school, like just looking at my stature. I started off as playing defensive tackle, and I was like
Okay.
185 pounds. And eventually, like my senior year in high school, they was like, "Oh, we're gonna transition you, man. We're gonna put you at linebacker. We're gonna see what you can do." We ran a for most football junkies, it's called a 3-3-5, which you have like three down linemen. You have to have a hell of a nose tackle, which my best friend was a nose tackle, and I was the middle linebacker. And I ended up gaining weight. I ended up bulking up. I became about 225, 220, 225. And coach was like, geez, you gaining weight, man, you looking good. But, eventually when I got out of the high school level and a lot of things, I moved to Mississippi, a lot of things started happening there where I was like, you know what, bro, I don't want to play no more ball. I'm not even gonna try. I'm gonna go ahead. I went there for a year. I got some credits, and I had enough credits to go ahead and go to Grambling or whatever school I wanted to go to. But the Jones kind of Junior College was going to help me with my football career, to help me develop a little bit more as a player, take the rawness out of me, and just be a better football player at a D1 level. But it didn't happen, and I knew it wasn't going to happen. I knew it. I was like, hey, I'm coming to terms with this stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and figure out what's next for me. And I went to school, started looking at the requirements of being an agent, and started looking at what I need to do. And I knew that it was postgraduate degree or be a lawyer or some type of entity where I can get that certification. So I went to Grambling. I got at it. I got my bachelor's degree and went. I graduated in 2013. Took a little break in between the two, worked a little bit and tried to make some extra money. Came up looking at the criteria for a being an agent, and that was in 2016 and 2017. I ended up graduating from Grambling State University and applied to be an agent in 2018, and that we took the exam, and you know, you
And there
know,
you get, there you
Conver-
are there. So one thing I want to point out is planning. So when you started seeing things shift and was attentive to your paradigm shift, you immediately responded with, even if it wasn't immediately, you did respond with planning. You started to look at, I said it's going to be one way or the other. So since it's not looking like this, let me already start planning and looking into what I need to do in order for it to look like that. So you were doing everything with intention and attention to what you was doing in order to go there.
so basically, in between the stages, what I ended up doing was what we're kind of dabbling into it at this time is real estate. So between those little times that I took the break in between, I brought my first real estate property, and I was kind of
Yeah.
working with that. I was handyman. I'm in there painting and busting down walls, replacing piping. Like, it was it was a lot, man. We did a lot, and right now my business partner, that's what he did. He does James. He does that as well. He is a real estate guy. He does a lot of flipping homes and things of that nature, and that's what we're into as well. But that was my first real estate property. I was in love with it. I was
Oh,
very passionate about. everything. Like I was from the time they moved it to the time it got in place, we patted up the dirt and everything, the foundation, all. I was like, wow, this is life. I love this. This is something I want to be looking at in the future. So I
And
did that.
we're gonna talk about how that could benefit people that possibly may join your team. If you really, those who are watching and listening, I really want you to listen to the guest story, because within the story, there are so many, there's gold in there. And I've heard so many pieces of gold. I'm gonna point them out towards the end, but I hope you're really listening on how can one, this person inspire me, but if I connect with this person, how can this person help elevate me? And there's so many things I'm hearing now, but I'll get to that in a minute. All right, so now you went to plan to go ahead and take this certification, which is how he and I met, because also I was a certified NFLPA agent. Listen, this is how you are called to do certain things. When I decided to go for my certifications, it was really because I was really nudged by people, because as an attorney, I was repping individuals that were transitioning to the NFL or come out of college from a legal perspective, looking over stuff. But I was encouraged, hey, why don't you just get your certification so it could go not just from representing here, but all the way through the door. Because for those who don't know, if you're not certified agent, there's but so far you can go with a prospect athlete. You can't do certain things unless you're a certified agent. And so that's why I did it. But then I soon learned that this was not my cup of tea. We talked about this so many times, and how I came to realize this is because when we got certified, it was right before the pandemic, literally. So like he just stated, planned on it for 2018. We took it in 2019. We were certified in 2019. So we took it in 2019, right? Okay. Yeah. We took it in 2019. Or do we get the results in 2019? How did that go? Wait.
We took it in the summer of 2019 and we passed it in 2019.
Okay. So we took it in the summer of 2019.
They let me know on my birthday because you certify on October 1st. That's my birthday. So that's when
that's what it was.
That's your calling, bro.
That's what it was. And we were all screaming. We was waiting people. So let's back up, because you guys probably don't understand the story. So, we studied, we planned, we researched and figured out the resources that we felt would help us prepare for it. Those who are thinking about being certified, do your research, see what's out there to help you prepare for this path if it's something that you're interested in. But we found something that we felt would help us, and that's how we end up connecting on that particular platform. Well, we got past that, and then we all met each other in person in Washington, D.C. We actually went to go take it. I was the only female. I was a female with all the fellas. Hey. I was the only female. But listen, I was holding my own, wasn't I? We studied, knowing the answers, being able to contribute on stuff. So, it was, and we just built a bond. But it was just hilarious, fun times, nail biting, but at the same time, it was fun times. We bonded over that. It was he, I, and a few other gentlemen as well. But we took that test. October came. We was excited. Yeah. Our crew passed. Knocked it out the park. I think everybody in our crew passed, right?
They did. Everybody was. I think it was one guy that did.
Oh, but he
was the one that skipped out on us the night that we was studying.
Oh.
But look, hey. One of our friends was like, bro, you brought everybody up in here. You gonna set the curve. I'm like, we are the curve. What you mean? We the curve, bro.
We are the curve. And we did that. Listen.
Yeah, bro, you gonna bring too many people here. They're going, I'm like, bro, we the curve. What is you saying? We setting the curve, bro. We are the curve.
And what he's saying by that is, so when you take the test, they look at how's it go. So many right, but like you said, there's a curve that is weighted on, as far as how many you get right. Because they don't count how many you don't, right? But then you raise that curve, because if you have more people getting, say, 70 out of the 100, now that's the bar that you have to go by, right? So that's what he's saying by the curve. And we were it. If you have people that really don't know anything and the rate of people getting things right is at 50, then the curve is lower. So what he was saying is, we learned is you're going to have more people passing, but we are it. We were the standard. We believe we were the standard. We knew we was going to rock it out. The energy was electric. It was a group For me, I want to say I'm proud that it was a group of men that I was around that was just focused. I mean, laser focused for them
Yeah.
to do and get what they wanted to do. And it made me step up as the only female to roll with the fellas. And so got certified. And from there, Nick, I mean, continue to take off. So like I said, we hit the pandemic. And I had at least, I want to say 10 athletes, and there was a lot of things that I learned about working with the athletes during the pandemic, because it's something you either have or you don't, or you expect for someone to hold your hand or do certain things. And I just operate one way. But Nick was able to make it through the pandemic, and we had to get very creative on how that was. What did that look like for you? You know, first we hit it with, listen, what was that like? Because you came out swinging.
I did, man. It was no pro days, no on the field access for the clients that was having like from the colleges or whatever. I had some guys from Louisiana, at certain Arizona, certain sorry. Happy Thursday. Sorry about that.
Oh,
It
no,
was
you're
it was
fine.
some guys from the university over in Louisiana, and they just wouldn't have no access. Like it was nothing. Like any prospects that we had, there was no on the field, no visiting teams, no top 30s, no nothing. It was nothing. So what we did was very unique to the guys. We simply created our own pro day and
Yep.
sent the teams these different workout informations on these different players that we did have. And that's how we got the thing started during the pandemic. It was that thing. I don't know. I think it was the last class that they had, and they just had a new class this year of new agents this year. This was the first year that they had new agents
Yeah.
since us.
It was so much. Like you said, we had to get creative, create our own. There was individuals that got right on the cusp. Some were able to have their pro day, but then that's when they started shutting down all the gyms,
Yep,
everything.
yep,
And
yep,
then it was
yep.
like someone was a week away from a pro day, and all of a sudden we
What
got
we gonna do?
emails, and it was like, can't. And it was like, listen, we got to get creative. We were like, even with the gyms though, because there was gyms around us shutting down. We were like, do we go to parks? We had to. Do we hire former scouts, people that would help with credibility? Like, what do we do? And we had to
That's
get
exactly
very,
what we did.
that's
Former scouts.
exactly.
Yep.
But you had to have the ones who were focused and were dedicated, or you had to have that magic dust to make sure they were focused or dedicated. And Nick did just that. He figured out with his group of individuals how to maneuver through that pandemic, and actually had a good class of individuals, and kept that trajectory going with that as well. So what does it look like now for you with the crew? What do you do for your athletes? Like what are your principles, your values that Elite offer?
So I mean, we promise, basically we just try to stay very. One of my business partners called it a boutique firm. So we try to be very selective on who we take, and we try not to take a lot of players or a lot of clients, because we want to make sure we keep that personal experience with
That
who we're
intimacy.
dealing with. Yeah, it's like I know a lot of people say, once you sign a paper, we family, but for me and the team that we have, and we have at Elite Sports, and the guys and the way we have it set up, from the lawyers, from the new agents that we have under us, and the COO, and me, the CEO, and the way it works out is, man, we all family, man. And I still talk to guys that don't even play football to this day from the NFL. That it's just family. You can still call me. I had a call yesterday from a guy that was with us, and he's still my guy. I still consider him as my client, no matter where we go, from 2 years ago to 30 years from now. That's if you want me to be in his wedding or whatever. That we family, man, and I help these guys whatever they want, whatever I can try to help them with, as far as like finding jobs, or they think they done with their career and that's over with them, and they want to be helped working on a company or something they're trying to fix or figure out or whatever. I try to help them with the research. I try to help them get into that. I'm very hands on, man. I don't mind whatever it is. I'm going to make sure I'm hands on with the guys. I don't care how big or how small the agency is or whatever. I'm going to always be hands on with the guys that I want on this. It's going to be very selective, but the guys that we do, figure out that we want, I'm gonna always be there for them, no matter what. That's just who I am.
But that's instilled in you. What they're getting when they get Nick is someone who had to be a family person, someone who had to become a man very early, someone who had to break generational curses. When you're someone like that, that becomes a part of your fabric. Like there's nothing that goes away. It just becomes who you are,
Yes,
and it continues to evolve, and it touches
yes,
on different areas. So when you're getting someone like you, those things that shaped you, that built your character, is what you're actually bringing to the table. That's why you
yes,
have that family situation. You're continue to
yes,
be that impact on top of, like you just said, outside of the NFL. You're dealing with your athletes outside of being a football player, because you had to deal with you outside of your plans and your vision. They listen, you could talk to them about going into real estate. Here go the nuggets, guys. I'm talking about the gold that he was
that's
already talking about. When you paying
we
attention to this stuff,
we doing it right now.
you
That's
see?
what we do. Real estate. We talked to them about real estate. I sat down with a prospect that we have right now that's actually on the NFL team, an active guy at this time. Talked to him about real estate. Talked to one of my other guys about truck driving, and he owns his own trucking company at this
There you
time.
go.
We real heavy on real estate. We real heavy on the nonprofits.
Yes.
We heavy on that. We everything that we figure out. The first thing we ask the client is, "Hey man, what do you want to do moving forward? Forget the football, forget all the numbers, forget all of everything, forget that stuff, man. What do you want to do?"
Right.
I don't have guys right now. One of my guys wanted to be a police officer. He is a sheriff in Houston at this time.
Nice.
Yeah, like it's whatever they want to do, but then that's my goal to make sure that these guys, even with the NFLPA and the NFL, they have like externships that these guys can work on.
Mm-hmm.
That's taking advantage of the resources that's out there to make sure that these guys know. And it's a lot of, from what I hear, man, from like listening to different people and how the agent was, and then you get guys from like different agencies that come and say, "Man, we never talked about this with my guy," or "My guy never disclosed this, or this, and that." I said, "Man, I'm an educator. I'm here to make sure you understand what's out there, and it's up to you to say, okay, bro, I want to take advantage of this, or I don't want to do this, or this looks good to me, or whatever you feel like you want to do. Open a restaurant, or look at the
Right.
naming rights to certain stuff, like whatever you want to do. Write a book, novel, whatever, man. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
Yes. But like I said, it's because who you are as a person. You're right. A lot of people get caught up in the smoke and mirrors of, I'm going to this big agency. It's not about, first of all, like I always tell people, it's the talent that makes the name of whoever. You're chasing after something that the talent made that name, but then you get into somewhere where there's an absolute disconnect on what you're looking for in life. Like we said earlier, vehicles. Being an
And
NFL player and being an NFL is just a vehicle. When you
you
want
know
to
what's
switch
funny?
vehicles, then what? Go
You know
ahead.
what's funny? We was on a meeting, I think 2 days ago with me and some other partners that we partner with to do stuff with, some great guys. And the first thing we tell the guys is, "Hey man, look, this ain't about us. This ain't about us, bro. It's about you. So you're not gonna hear, oh, Elite Sports, or you're not gonna hear whoever agency, whatever. You're not gonna hear that. You're gonna hear whoever the player is and whatever his goal is or whatever he has in mind. It's all about you, bro. Like this is your dream. This is what you want to do. My dream is to be here and be your agent, and to be your brother, to be your whatever you want me to be to you, your mentor, whatever. I'm here to help you. That's just what I'm here for."
And that's what I mean, because it's ingrained in you and it's innate. And so that's why it's good for individuals to know what they want. When you
Yep.
have resources, you have to seize the opportunity, because if you can't articulate what it is that you want in your life, you may miss out on resources. So you are a resource for individuals, again, who's using the NFL as a vehicle, not a be all, tell all, end all. It is a vehicle for
Everybody know the
you to get
NFL stand for
whatever.
not for long.
Not for long. Not for long.
You're not
And,
gonna be that long.
right. And that's also living a limited life. If you're gonna be limitless, that's something that's just a part of your existence, right? And so you take that money, take those experience or whatever else you can get from it to continue to expand. And when you have
That's
somebody
right.
like yourself who have diverse experiences and know what it means to use these hands and to use the mind, like you said, you're going to research. That's something that you was already doing
Yeah.
before agent. Like, books don't teach you this stuff. This is, you either are who you are or you not, and you bring who you are to what you're doing, and you're bringing who Nick is to what you're doing, which is an amazing resource, for individuals. So
I always say, Ella, I don't mind building the bricks, or I don't mind going through going against the grain to make sure the people coming up behind me has a better pave. It's like paving the way.
yeah,
It's like paving the way. I don't mind going through the hard stuff because I know being first gen with stuff like that, man,
yes,
it's just unmarked territory that people just does not know nothing about. And I don't mind using whatever I can to get forward. And then whoever coming up behind me, bro, I saw you did this. This, I like it, bro. Like, how can I, bro? This is what you have to do. These are the steps. Da, 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 da. I don't mind being that vessel. I don't
that's
mind.
right. I mean, that's what we listen. It's not just even mine. It's a mandate, and for you, you're listening and you're responding to it. Like you said, for some people, they can't even fathom what is possible until someone else do something. As a person who was in track, for instance, the mile record stood forever until someone broke it. Once it broke it, it just kept being broken. Right now, looking at the hurdles, it took one and two girls to get so close to breaking the hurdle record that's been over, oh my gosh, over 20 something years. Now all of a sudden everybody's dropping, right?
That's what I'm
So it
saying.
always takes someone to do something in order for you to imagine and be able to see and feel that you can do it. And so that's what, like you said, you being that person, that vessel to say, it's possible. I'm breaking these curses. I'm doing that. And you're still doing that. You are still doing that just in what you're doing. One, you just show what's possible as a new agent, going
As
out,
a
maximizing whatever resources, whatever chess game you played and strategy you knew.
Yep.
Listen, and we had to deal with people. Listen, listen, listen. We had to deal with individuals who their will was put on the table. With the pandemic, people were tested. So you were tested dealing with people's will, because some people wanted to give up. Some people wanted to say, why can't I just be drafted? You had to have this special magic dust to make it through that pandemic, because you were dealing with people, energy, who wanted to give up on themselves, let alone, you pushing through. So I'm so proud of you doing that. Again, I'm not surprised though for everything that you already built up, and you said it. You said, I'm going to be on this side one way or another. So there's no way that you're just easily giving up not being on that side. You're going to fight tooth and nail, scratch, and do all that you need to do. And what is your Instagram again? ESE firm.
Yes, that's ESE firm for the firm. And then my Instagram name is Nick underscore the agent. So it's NICK underscore THE agent. So
Go to his Instagram page, because as you see, like you said, he put the athletes forefront. And I just love it. I get inspired to my seat. A new one, son. No,
every
I
time.
was like, man, I just get so pumped. And he has so many things in the pipeline. I'm not gonna share. We talk things offline that's
Yep.
coming out. He's always thinking about evolving,
Yep.
not being stagnant. He's always thinking about what is the best situation for the family. Just like you thought about your personal family. What is the best situation for the family? You built your team, your
I always
agent
tell my
team.
agents, I always tell the agents, and I always tell like my lawyers and whoever else, man, my partners, whatever. I say, bro, my job is, if I put you in something, it's my job to protect you, and I hope you do the same for me. That's just it's just the way we see it, man. That's just how I talk to the guys, and it's they firm just like it's mine. That's the way I see it, man. Whatever we do, it's us. It ain't me, it ain't I, it ain't none of that. It's us, man. Whatever we do is what we do. We
Right.
family from the clients to the lawyers to the agents to partners, man. We are together. This is a collective group of people that working in the best interest of the client.
And the beautiful thing is though, when you are a leader and you get called and respond to that leader quality, you have a discernment though. You have a discernment of those individuals you can pick around you, that is in unison, that is aligned, and that is going to take everything and anything you're doing to the next level. So here we are. We have a man, Nicholas Bedford, who went from, single family household situation to that not being an excuse, but that being fuel, to being someone who impact and inspire. and continues to do that right now, who had to pivot, and that did not make him crumble. It made him actually push harder and to actually learn more in the process. So for those who are listening and watching, if you are watching at a time when you think it's not going the way that you feel it should go, or it doesn't look the way you think it should look, just keep your heart and your mind on the intention, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
And I'm not saying that every day is easy. None of this, it's
No.
never easy. This stuff, I'm always a sponge. I like to learn from people that's been in the game longer than me. I like to learn from people that's new. Like you just never know how you can get stuff. Like I'm always trying to figure out ways to observe knowledge. Like my guy over here might tell me something that Ella might say some things that make me invoke my thought and be like, damn, bro, we might need to look at this. We might need to switch some stuff up. It's always an ongoing situation with that. And then it's not always easy. It's not always easy. It is a demanding
It's
role to be in.
constant. As long as we're living, it's constant. As long as you're breathing, it's a constant evolving, it's evolution. Every day, your purpose is to evolve every single day. What was yesterday's yesterday. It's everything is a continual evolution. And while you're alive, you're always evolving. So you're going to always be a student and a teacher simultaneously. So that is what it is. Okay, question. What I want you to end us on, as a superhero. First, I used to say this question to people, said, if you were a superhero, but you know what? I started thinking about it. We are super, we have our own unique superpowers. If there were no limitations in your mind, none at all, what will you use your superpower to do to contribute to this world?
Man, we in turmoil today in this world, man. I feel like if I had superpowers to help the world be a better place, I will eliminate probably all the evil things that I can think of, whether it come from money or greed or whatever, man. It's the things that I know people kind of put themselves in class to feel like they're better than somebody or whatever the case may be. I'll eliminate all that stuff, man, and everything will be equal. We'll figure out ways to help each other grow and be successful, whether it's from food and water to having things that building homes or whatever, man, making sure everybody has everything they need to succeed and have a better life. That's just that's just what I want to do and represent.
Because there's
It's
enough, because we have enough. The lie
plenty.
that we have been told and that we have embraced is scarcity. And there's certain things that we're even put in front of us that make us look like it's scarcity. There is enough for us to do exactly what it is that we're supposed to do. And it becomes even more abundant if we connect with the right individuals.
If we stand up and figure out how powerful we can be, shoot, hey man, it could change the game.
Actually, we can rewrite it. We can be the game.
We are the game.
We are the game.
It's up,
There
man.
you go.
It's
There
up.
you go. When you're up, when you're up, when you're up, then you're up. Thank you so much for giving your time, giving your wisdom, giving your nuggets, just giving your story. I appreciate you so much, Nick. Forever bond between our crew, and you know me, I'm always pushing, supporting, and wishing for so much success your way, because it's not just for you. It's because I know you're using your vehicle to elevate so many other people. So I push everything for your desires to be fulfilled so that you can help fulfill other people. So thank you so much for giving your time.
I
I
feel like I
appreciate
didn't. I feel like we didn't have. I feel like it's so much more we can discuss. But I love
Yes,
it, man.
I
It's beautiful.
know. I know it's so much
I
more. It's so much.
hopefully
I had to like cut off all my things. I was like, oh, I want to go. So I had to pull out those things that I hope people can pull. But one thing I'm gonna do for listeners too, there's gonna be an all-star revisit. I'm gonna have people come in and just say, who do I want to come back? We'll all star. I might even do something where it's a collab where I'm chunking different groups of people together that spoke, so we can just pop off things from there. So, SeekELLAvation is always elevating. So we're going to it doesn't end here. This is just pause. This is until next time type
Until next
situation.
time. To
And
be
to next
continued, huh?
to be continued. All right. Thank you for
I
listening to
love it.
another segment of SeekELLAvation. This is the Conversate and Elevate segment. And to next time, I want you to continue to elevate, because elevators, we always go